Hey everybody, welcome to episode 8 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast, 20 minutes with some of the world's top fitness professionals. I'm your host, Anthony Rana, and you can check out the show notes at stop20podcast.com. That's stop20podcast.com. Make sure you go to iTunes and subscribe to the show. It's really important that you do that. Maybe leave us a rating and a review since we're a new show. That's really important for iTunes and kind of getting the word out. All right, for today's episode, I have on Kirsty Godso, and Kirsty is a Nike master trainer, and she also works for Equinox in special projects. She's taught all over the world, including her homeland in New Zealand. She actually has a degree in finance and marketing and actually had a day job, which if you follow her on Instagram, you kind of find it hard to believe. She's one of the hardest working fit pros out there, constantly in motion, and you will be exhausted just trying to keep up with her on social media, which I'll have all the links to at stop20podcast.com. Kirsty, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just need to use that intro anytime I go somewhere. Thank you.
There you go. Well, seriously, I mean, I know I asked you earlier where you are right now because it's like Waldo. I mean, you're all over the map. You're constantly in motion. It's crazy trying to keep up with you. So
I'm trying to keep up with myself half the time, but I'm not a great sleeper, I'm sure, as you can judge from my social media. I'm always up. I'm always in the gym or doing something, trying to see what's going on in the world.
Absolutely. It's good stuff. So, all right, let's get this going. So what's that spark? What's your story?
So as you mentioned, I actually have a finance degree. So I was always super into sport and stuff when I was at school, and I loved numbers. And so naturally, when I went to university, I studied business, doing finance and marketing. But I realized I was always structuring my university timetable around my gym schedule. And I was like, okay, at first I just thought it was a thing because uni wasn't that exciting. And then I was just like, no, this is an obsession. I need to do something with this. I'm not going to be satisfied sitting in front of 6 computer screens when I could be doing something that means a lot more to me. And I think the real crunch point was when I was actually in the US for my first time. And I managed to somehow talk my way into getting into this athlete facility to try a high intensity workout because I really was so intrigued by it. And it was that first moment I wanted to spew my guts out. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to have that feeling all the time. And so that was really that. If I had to pick one specific moment, that was it.
Very cool. I was reading on your background a little bit, or I think it was a video where it was a cool quote. You said, a lot of people like the feeling after a workout. I like the feeling inside of a workout. So was that really kind of the drive for you? Just loved, when you were working out, it was just that feeling.
It really is. It's such a confronting feeling. And I think that I love not only the physical challenge of it, but it really is that mental challenge where everyone gets to that point where you feel like, I just actually can't do any more burpees, or I don't want to do any more of something. And I kind of loved that challenge of being like, yeah, I can actually. And then I'd sort of applied that attitude to the rest of my day. So I love that awful feeling during the workout. To me, that's a beautiful feeling. I wouldn't describe it as awful. I actually get sad when my workout's finished. I'm like, oh, damn, what's up next?
That's incredible. Now, I want to, I'm a little naive with, New Zealand. I don't know a lot of people from New Zealand. So growing up, were you guys a little bit more active than maybe what you might be observing in America?
Well, New Zealand, otherwise known as Australia, it's super active. I grew up on a farm, so my brother and I had motorbikes, and we were really into that. But both of my parents were professional golfers, so that was a very active. Golf requires so much discipline and commitment, and so I think I always observed that from my parents. So I felt, even though I wasn't playing golf, I really felt like that about sport in general. So I was involved in far too many teams to the point that it was stressful to my parents. But it's definitely a very, you're always riding on bikes or you're running around. It's a very earthy country, so you're always out and being active.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, you're a little younger than me, but that was my generation was, always out and about. And, you basically, your parents had to call you in to get inside. So,
Yeah. Please get out of the ocean now. It was basically like that. No, I'm not. Give me ice cream.
very cool. We'll talk about, maybe besides your parents, and if it was really them, that's cool. But who was your superhero growing up? Who influenced you the most to kind of become the person you are?
This is kind of funny because my parents used to drag me around to tournaments all the time, and my brother is super into golf, so I'd watch them too. So when I was originally growing up, I looked up to people like Nick Faldo and like all these people that it's so funny because golf is not remotely me, or the All Blacks. Like I was obsessed with Zinzan Brooke. I actually thought he was going to be my husband at some point, even though the age difference was dramatic. I still remember the day I found out he had a wife. It was devastating. At 8 years old to be crushed like that. So I really, I grew up looking to golfers and looking to rugby players, which is quite interesting, so different to what I do, and especially being a girl. But I loved the focus. I really loved how much they commit. I love the team element of rugby, but then I really loved the individual element of golf.
That's interesting because I was telling somebody in the 90s I went to a basketball game, a women's basketball game. And it was when Rebecca Lobo was playing. And it was at Madison Square Garden. So I was hanging out, and I saw these little girls running around with Rebecca Lobo shirts on. And it hit me. I was like, oh, my God, these young girls, what were they doing before this? Were they walking around with Michael Jordan shirts? Or they didn't really have those female sports role models.
Yeah, female icons.
So like you, even when you were growing up, you're talking about Nick Faldo and the All Blacks guys, same idea. It's really interesting that you say that.
Yeah, I think like now it's so incredible to look at all these amazing athletes. Like I would say my superhero now would be someone like Allyson Felix. I just think she's undeniable. She's such a graceful athlete. And the way that she communicates through wins or losses and has this beautiful voice of always encouraging people, and always, even if she doesn't win a gold or, doesn't quite get the result she wants, she still has such an empowering message. And like, she's just like incredible. I mean, you watch her move and it's, oh my gosh.
Absolutely, I agree. Very cool. Who are you trying to be a superhero to then? If who are you trying to help, or is it clients, is it trainers, or where are you going?
I think for me, it's like I'm really trying to be like a voice of truth and authenticity to young girls, especially, but kind of anyone that's interested in their health and well-being, and really just like actually sticking to what's true and what I believe in. I think that I love our industry, but there's a lot of clutter in it, and there's a lot of, messy voices out there. So for me, especially because I know that a lot of the people that follow me or watch what I do or that I train are young girls, and they're very impressionable. It's really important for me to be very honest with them about, like how important health is and all these things, and being, smart about their training and their weight and what they're eating. And so, yeah, I would say predominantly it's younger females, but in general, everyone. Like I love to train guys as well. And like in New Zealand, some of my most regular people that were coming to my classes were 60-year-old men, and they were so fit. They felt awesome. They were the fittest they'd been in their life, and that was so cool to me.
That's really cool to be able to also to reach a lot of different age groups. I love that. You talked a little bit there. You mentioned about some messy voices in the industry. What are some things that may be bothering you about what's going on in the industry?
I just feel like I'm so passionate about this industry, and I'm so, like I treat it with such respect, but I feel like there's quite a bit of clutter, and whether that's kind of, and I think some of the people that have a lot of noise and a lot of volume are people that maybe aren't as authentic to what training really is and what it should be about. They might be pushing like skinny me tea or, some kind of all these interesting things rather than having it being, grounded in functional training and things that we know are really good for us. And, there's just so many products and everything out there that it's actually really confusing for anyone that is interested in being healthy but needs some guidance, because there's just so many things out there. There's always a quick fix, or there's, like 5 steps to your best abs ever. And, like, let's just go back to having a relationship with our body and a relationship with our training that's sustainable.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%, but I also turn around and look at the positive of somebody like you and what you're doing and your message every single day. Like I said before, it's exhausting trying to follow you on Instagram and seeing what you're doing. But there's also that, what are some other things that you feel like we're doing right and some of the good things in the industry?
Totally. Like I can't, pretend like I don't use social media or something as a way to communicate with people and stuff like that. But I think what the industry is doing really great is that, yes, there might be clutter, but there's more conversation about wellness in general. So there's heightened awareness. So, we're getting people to move more and think about moving more. And, things like the Nike Training Club app or the free classes is such an amazing initiative because you're actually allowing people to have access to these incredible trainers throughout the world, or even on the app, you can see what athletes do to stay healthy and what type of training they like. And, just really breaking down barriers or reasons why people might not train. And I think that's a really beautiful place. Like if you think about fitness even 10 years ago, it's so different now. And it's more common for people to, you think maybe years ago, people would sort of judge you sometimes if you had a gym membership. They might be like, oh, you're vain. Whereas now it's like you get judged if you don't have one. It's like, what, you don't care about your health? So I think it's kind of cool that it's reversed. But I just think it's a really, like, fitness is such a beautiful thing that I really treasure. So I always love it, like connecting with people that are super passionate about their health. That's
cool. Now, you travel all over. For a while, you've been traveling all over for Nike and doing classes, and you've been part of this industry. And I was in a focus group with you at Nike, and I thought you had some really great things to say. Where do you feel like we're going in this industry? Because you've been all over the world. It's not just like for some people who just are in their little box in one area. It's hard for them to answer that question. But with you, do you think we're making improvements? Do you think we're going in the right direction?
I definitely think we are going in the right direction. I think there's a lot more choice for people. You look at the rise of the boutique fitness industry, you look at the rise of training apps, and then there's more and more gyms opening all the time, whereas previously you might have just had gyms or people wouldn't think so much about training outside because they didn't really know what to do unless it was maybe what they'd learned from a sports team, whereas now you'll see people training in parks with their apps or using, parts of the city to work out as their gym, which is so cool. And I think it's such a global movement now, so I definitely think we're going in the right direction.
Well, now it's time for the Stop and Give Me 5 segment. 5 rapid-fire questions and answers. First one, I got to ask. I mean, I'm in the golf business, and, you're a golf kid. What is your handicap?
You know what? This is so horrifying to my parents, but actually as an act of rebellion as a teenager, I used to refuse to hand my cards in so I couldn't actually get a handicap, so I don't have one. However, I would like to say that I think it would be fairly low.
Oh, come on. There you go. Yeah, wait, by the way, that's all right. This is 1A. What do you think it would be if you know the the system?
Oh, my gosh. Now I feel like I'm going to get held to this at some point. No, it would probably be a 9.
All right. Okay. All right. No, we're going.
Give me a year to work on that.
We're going golfing in the spring. Last live concert you went to?
I went to the St. Pablo tour by Kanye West in LA a few weeks ago. It was incredible.
All right. Very cool. I know you're big on all of your accessories and fitness. What's one fitness accessory you cannot live without?
Oh, my gosh. That's so hard. It would be my Nike Air Zoom Strong sneakers. They're my absolute favorite. I'm obsessed with them. I have them in 5 colors.
Wow, 5 colors. All right. You do a lot of traveling, like I said. Favorite fitness experience that you've been part of?
For sure, the Nike Training Club tour last year. It was incredible. We went 13 cities. I was lucky enough to lead 7 of them, and it was just the most amazing way to not only see the world, but to really speak a global language of fitness and wellness. And, you know, you were often teaching to girls where you couldn't even speak the same language, but you were communicating through movement, and it was incredible.
That's so cool. Last one, favorite place to work out that you're not a teacher at or that you're not part of?
Tone House in New York. So if you haven't been there, it is an athletic conditioning place. If you go actually on conditioning day on a Friday, just expect to die. And I love the workout so much. It's a football inspired. You do a lot of sleds, you do a lot of gallops, a lot of things that make you feel very sick. I mean, the warm up in itself, if you survive that, you feel good about yourself. But it's such a mental and physical challenge, like really, really pushing yourself to the edge. I really like to go because when I leave there, I'm just like, oh, you know, everything else is going to be fine. I just survived that 60 minutes.
Very cool. A glutton for punishment that you are. Let's, whatever you can obviously tell us, but what are you working on right now that's kind of getting you really excited?
Okay, can I answer two things?
Absolutely.
One thing I'm working on that I'm super excited about is with Equinox. I'm working in the special projects team, and that's really examining the fitness market and looking at ways to really empower trainers. And, you know, we know there's so many great trainers out there, and sometimes they're not always treated, you know, in the most respectful ways or in the best ways to really be delivering their ultimate performance to the guest that's coming to work out with them. We like to call them guests as well because, you know, we hope that they're visiting frequently. But so I'm super excited about that and can't wait to share more about that in the coming months. And then the second thing is something I'm incredibly passionate about, which is protein. And for years, I've actually been searching for the perfect protein powder, and one that I'm not only so comfortable to use myself, but that I can honestly recommend to other people, where I believe in all the ingredients and I believe it is a performance protein that doesn't taste like terrible. So after years of searching and a lot of research and not being happy with one, I've actually made my own. So that will be releasing early next year. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, wow. Can you just, you gotta expand a little, not as specifically on the product, but what does that really entail? Like when you're going to make your own? I mean, what did you have to do
Oh my God. Honestly, I wish we filmed the experience of when I was going through this like few months long testing phase of all these ones that were rated top in the market. And there were days that I vomited in the gym from these proteins, when I'd have them slightly pre-workout. Like I really put my body on the line as a test. But so I had an idea of what I kind of wanted, and my goal was to bring out a protein that would have the highest concentrate of whey isolate, because it's incredible when you do more research into the industry how much people can lie about what really is in the protein, what ratios are in there, and especially about the actual protein content. And so that was my goal, was to actually get a really high one, but also one that your everyday person would use, not just someone that's extremely performance-driven like me. So I wanted as little ingredients as possible, and I'm so happy with the number that has come back from the test. We went through a few different rounds of sampling, and yeah.
Very cool. So add scientists to
I'll
to
have to send you some.
All right, well, we can finish up now with the last minute or so, just that with the letter to your younger self and that advice that you might give to yourself.
Oh, well, this is so funny because it was always my dream to work for Nike. Like, I was brand obsessed before I even knew what a brand was. Like, my dad, he gets so emotional all the time when I'm doing these things with Nike, because he's like, you would look me in the eyes as a little girl all the time and be like, Dad, I want to work for Nike. And he even was like, okay, not really thinking it would happen. And I think my message to is just if you have something that you really hold so dear to your heart, this dream or this belief of what you want to do, and something that you can't stop thinking about, then don't stop thinking about it. Even if people tell you you're not going to get it, or it's not going to happen, or it's out of your reach, that's actually not true. I came from New Zealand, the bottom of the world, and I've been chasing this dream with Nike and would never look back. And I definitely had a lot of people telling me along the way, that's not going to happen. But I think it's, just telling yourself, always believe in that little fire that's in your heart, because that fire can turn into a big fire.
Absolutely, and I think anybody that's met you can feel that fire and feel that passion. And we're in the fitness industry. We're lucky to have somebody like you who's really spreading just such a great message and trying to make it better. So thank you so much for coming on today. I know you're super busy, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super, super stoked to be involved with this.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 8 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast. Thanks again to Kirsty Godso, and make sure to check out all the links to all her stuff at stop20podcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave us a review and a rating. It'll really help us out. My name's Anthony Arena. Thanks so much for stopping by.